Hua! Hua! Yeah! Ultraman DLC. It is no surprise that I am probably Gigabash's biggest fan, and please excuse my voice, I have a stuffy nose. I've been supporting Gigabash since day one, and you can see that on this channel as well. On my old Twitter, I was always responding to whatever tweet they were making, and on my new Twitter, I'm doing the same thing, but on their Instagram, I've been doing it for months, years actually, at this point. Why? Because I love Kaiju. As you can see here, I got Godzilla on my shoulder, I got Godzilla on my shirt, I've got more Godzilla merchandise, I have a whole shrine back there, a whole Kaiju shrine. You can see Ultraman sitting at the top. You can see Rodan sitting on Godzilla. Ultraman Taiga. Here, let me put a photo of like what it actually looks like just clear without this background blurriness. In my whole movie collection, I have so much. Here's another photo of my movie collection. Specifically, this is my Kaiju section. I love Kaiju, and Kaiju games are a rarity at this point in this modern day. All we can get are pachinko games and arcade pinball games and whatever, and that's not what we want! But, the good old days of Godzilla Melee and Save the Earth and Rampage and all these other things is Gigabash in modern day today. Gigabash is a game where you can fight free-for-all, with a partner, mini-games like it's Mario Party, online couch play, and I have been praising this game since day one because it's made by a very small dev team with very big heart and passion. This is a passion project. They have put their whole soul into this game. And I think the saddest part about this game is that the community is not as big as it should be. In fact, I feel like there should be more people praising this game. There should be more people playing this game. This game should be on the same level as Smash Bros. Or Rainbow Six or Fortnite or whatnot. This is a great game, especially when you take a look at how it was made. It's a small team, but it's a developed, devoted team. That is they knew what they wanted going into this project. And not long after being released, we got the Godzilla DLC, which was finally the ability to play a Godzilla game or just be Godzilla in a game and fight with your friends and stuff. And you could be Gigan, you could be Mechagodzilla, and you could be Destoroyah. You were essentially Godzilla and some of his rivals throughout the Showa, Millennium, and Heisei era. It's kind of like a love letter to Godzilla, and it's not all, in fact, it's not King Ghidorah or Rodan or Mothra, but I'll get there. But we got a Godzilla DLC, and there's little alternate skins for Godzilla too, like little different color palettes. Now, I shouldn't say skins, but color palettes. And it's a fully fledged fighting game with story modes and couch play and all these things I just mentioned. And I'm a big Kaiju fan. And I'm a big Gigabash fan, and I love Gigabash, and I hope that this game gets more recognition because it deserves more recognition, and I hope that even with my 3 views per video and 50 subscribers that watch every whatever, I hope that I am able to at least push Gigabash out into the mainstream world in some capacity, even with as minimal as effect as I have. That being said, it's been over a year since Gigabash has been out, and now we have Ultraman. It is essentially the first time Godzilla and Ultraman are together in a game where you can fight each other. I'm not talking about fan games, I'm not talking about this, I'm not talking about that. A game. A good fighting Kaiju game with Godzilla and Ultraman and their rivals. You can be Gigan and fight Ultraman now. This is insane. But it doesn't stop there, because it's Ultraman, Ultraman Taiga, Alien Baltan, and Kameara, which is great to actually have like more feminine female Kaiju in the mix too. I hope they essentially put Biollante in the future too, but I'm gonna get to that. I just love seeing more diversity in my Kaiju games, and this is great. This is a pretty good start. Of course, I played it, and you know, I've been having such a blast with it.
Oh, this is so exciting just from like the image. Oh, his intro's so good. This is crazy. Oh yeah. He has like a little latency, but I don't know. It looks beautiful. I know that they. Ooh. Oh, he's growing. I'm growing. Yes. He was so good. Like a grapple attack. Oh! You get the alien Baltans. Oh my god, that's brutal, dude. Oh, wait a minute. Does it? It does! Oh, wait a minute! There's not really alternate color schemes for any of the Ultramen. or their counterparts, but it looks like Taiga just has the ability to change between the Taiga suit and the blue suit with the taunt. And you get a 5 hit with that basic, dude. That's crazy. Yeah, so the special's kind of like a jump. So you can essentially have like a double jump if you really wanted to. Jump, special, onto the building in a second. Dude's fast. So let's check out that special. Jesus Christ!
But this video is not just praise for Gigabash and praise for Gigabash's Ultraman DLC and just being happy that it's out now. What do I want to see from Gigabash now? If you're clicking on this video, there's a good chance you already know what Gigabash is, or at least interested in the fact that the Ultraman DLC is out. Or maybe you've never heard of Gigabash before in your life and you have no idea what I'm talking about. But the main focus of this video isn't just the fact that there's an Ultraman DLC and I'll just show gameplay. I also wanted to talk about something. I wanted to essentially talk about Gigabash's potential, and very big potential it does have. The developers are obviously passionate, but a lot of games nowadays are just dying and dead, and I do not want that for Gigabash. Stuff like Texas Chainsaw, which is kind of on its way out at this point. Evil Dead the game, which is pretty much in its last limbs as it's about to be over in December. Friday the 13th with copyright issues, and so many other games and licensed games, and games with licenses like these that matter, such as Godzilla or Ultraman. These games are at high risk of just dying because of lack of support, and yes, I'm very big and strict on like game developers and stuff like that, because it's a medium where you can always just kind of improve upon it. It's not like a movie or a show where what you get is what you get. A game literally has to be fixed continuously and has to have added things, and there has to be a feedback loop response where both the gamers and the game devs essentially communicate with each other and figure out how to make their game better. I'm very strict on game developers and gaming culture in that sense, but I feel like a lot of the times, at least recently, it is the community that has been failing a lot of these games. And I'm not talking AAA games, which have a certain standard. I'm talking indie developers, I'm talking smaller games that, you know, deserve a little bit more. And a lot of times, if communities aren't getting that Rainbow Six or that Dead by Daylight or whatever, they're not going to play it for much longer. And Gigabash is a game I want to see grow, and I feel like the community needs to grow, and we can't really let this game down because the developers are definitely doing everything they can, and I just hope that this game doesn't fall victim to what a lot of other newer games have with very, very good licenses in them. So consider this video essentially a public service announcement. Gigabash is a game, it's a game you should try, it's a game you should play with friends, and it's a game that I know for a fact a lot of people would enjoy, and it has a great development team behind it. So please, go check out this game, which leads me to my next biggest thing. What can we expect from the future of Gigabash? I have not talked to these developers. I simply just see their Instagram posts or their tweets or their replies and their likes to my comments and stuff like that. And they are great people. They're wonderful people. They are people with a lot of passion for this. And, you know, there are comments that are like, can we get this DLC? Can we get that? And they're always like, maybe. But what does that mean, and what can we see? Well, I'll tell you for one thing, if this game continues to get the support from the community, and if this game continues to thrive, I can see a lot for this game. It is up to us to continue to support this game and able to get them more of what we want from them, if that makes sense. And I think the first biggest thing is probably a secondary Godzilla DLC pack. We've got Godzilla, and we've got a couple of his rivals, but now it's time for the other well-known ones. Here, I'm gonna make a little template thing, so that way we can, like, visualize it in the same way that they do theirs. Alright, so first on the block would be Godzilla Pack 2. King Ghidorah, Mothra, Rodan, Megalon. These four alone would add so much value and character to the Godzilla roster already, that we already have, and from what people also want to see, because these are legacy characters. These are characters that people love. Ghidorah is Godzilla's arch nemesis. Rodan is always like that character that people just like to see or laugh at. Mothra is one of Godzilla's most important allies. And Megalon is one of those asshole kaiju that, you know, he's just such fun. And yes, there are other kaiju that I would love to see. I mean, I've already mentioned, I would love to see Biollante. I feel like when they added Camera to the Ultraman DLC stuff, they really opened the door in adding more feminine and female kaiju, which is always awesome. Of course, they created Rohan. But Biollante is another female kaiju, and a really, really cool one, mind you, with a lot of potential. I don't think Biollante should be next up on any roster, though. I should feel like it should be another 4 iconic ones. And for me, it would happen to be these four right here. Also, one of my favorite Godzilla rivals ever is Hedorah. I love Hedorah. And as much as I love that kaiju, I just don't think it should be in the second pack at all. Maybe the third, because that would be amazing. When we move over from Godzilla, and it looks like these DLCs are coming out yearly, but hopefully they come out in more of a seasonal type of thing. So after the Godzilla one, I think the next biggest one that everybody is expecting is Gamera. Yes, Gamera. I think they should do something similar to what they did with Godzilla. They should have a very iconic Gamera look. It's probably going to be Heisei, but then grab a couple of his rivals from throughout the Showa and, you know, probably the new Netflix anime stuff. Seeing enemies like Iris would be really cool. Ultimately, though, I feel like the pack should be Gamera, Gios, Barugon, and Iris. Again, just as a first Gamera pack, because if we can expect anything from the best, it would probably have to be that there would be a second Gamera pack, or maybe a third if we're even that lucky, you know? Those would just be my initial picks for it. I'm noticing that I left out a very iconic kaiju from the second Godzilla pack, but he would be the headliner for the third pack, which comes right after Gamera, and I believe Anguirus should be leading that third DLC pack for Godzilla, and probably the final Godzilla pack, but, you know. So in that third pack, you would have Anguirus, you would probably have Hedorah, you should have Biollante, and as a fourth, I don't know. I mean, there are still a lot more Godzilla rivals, but I feel like we would probably just cap it off with 3 Godzilla packs in total, which isn't bad, but, you know. Who else than Jet Jaguar? That would be my third and final Godzilla rivals pack, and honestly, I mean, we're probably not getting more than 3. I would love more than 3, but these would be my 3. The main one that we have and the 2 that I just theorized. On top of that, we got the Gamera DLC, but what comes after the last Godzilla DLC? If there's not going to be any more Godzilla, there has to be more Ultraman. I'm going to be honest, they might also do 3 Ultraman DLC, but I don't know. I can't see them really doing anything different from what they just did with this Ultraman DLC, and I don't mind it. We should have 2 Ultramen, because there are so many Ultramen, and we should have 2 baddies, and yeah, I feel like this pack should be 2 more Kaiju, but also 2 more Ultraman. Of course, Ultra 7, and let's go for Ultra Leo. If we have 7 and we have Leo, then we should have Zeton and we should have Gabara. Zeton and Gabara were already in Shin Ultraman, so we can use those designs, or we could use one classic design and one more modern design, or a design from any era, really. But I feel like it's just right to have them. If we would have a third Ultraman pack, I wouldn't consider it to come right after this second Ultraman pack, but after whatever the following DLC pack is, and that would have to be Ultraman Zoffi and Ultraman Taro. Taro would probably lead it, I don't know. I like Zoffi myself, but it is what it is. That leaves us with 2 last Ultraman rivals for the third Ultraman DLC theoretical pack. The first rival, Gamora. It's only fitting that a Godzilla lookalike, which was just a reused costume, be also alongside Godzilla and Ultraman and all this in this game. It would be really funny. We gotta go with Jiras. Of course, those are just my theoretical picks. There are so many great kaiju from both Ultraman and Godzilla that, you know, we could just fill this entire game with it, ideally. But we gotta think about licensing and money and the possibilities of that ever happening. What's stopping us from just getting all these licenses? Besides money. If the game gets supported super duper, there's a good chance that we might eventually get a game with an extremely large roster of characters. It's been seen before. It'd be awesome. That's just what I'm saying, though. There are really 3 more DLC packs I will theorize that would make a lot of sense. This is a pack that I've seen a lot of people talk about, and it would probably have to be the legendary Kaiju monster pack. I don't think that it would just be the Monsterverse, though. I think that would also include Pacific Rim. Now, here's the thing. Okay, well then, would that just be 4 characters? Yeah, it would probably still just be 4 characters, and would that be a little sad? Yeah, but we gotta think it would be a little bit more likely if this were the case. I don't necessarily think that Godzilla would be a part of this pack, although he could probably just be an alternate skin for the Godzilla that we already have. The legendary Godzilla's alternate skin from either the 2014 movie or King of the Monsters or Godzilla vs. Kong. That would probably be likely since there's already a Godzilla in it, but then if Godzilla's just going to be an alternate skin for the pre-existing Godzilla, then who do we get? Kong. We get Kong, which is great. We get Gypsy Danger. And then, you know, when it really comes down to it, what other kaiju can we get? Again, one from probably the Monsterverse, but then one from Pacific Rim. My first theory is Knifehead, but a lot of other people would probably say like Leatherback, which would be fitting for Kong, I would assume. It's just when it comes down to it, there's so many kaiju in all of these franchises that it's so hard to pick it down, and when you think about money, it gets really sad having to leave some out. I'll say that it's Knifehead, just for personal preference. Kong, Gypsy Danger, Knifehead, and then who else should we add? I feel like a Skullcrawler. Skullcrawler would be really dope. Okay, so then there's 2 more packs, and some that I would really want, but some that other people have talked about. And what would that be necessarily? Well, I know for a fact Power Rangers would probably have to be one of those. Listen, when you're talking Power Rangers, I'm a big fan. I have the deluxe board game stuff. I have the whole complete Mighty Morphin series behind me. I love my Power Rangers. And the Power Rangers recently collabed with Godzilla, finally, for the first time in comics, and I feel like it would make sense to have a Zord or 2 here and there. So we'd probably go with the Megazord and the Dragonzord. And if I'm gonna be real, this would probably just be a twofer. It would be a cheaper pack, but it would just be 2 Zords. Does it sound like a waste? I don't know. I feel like it'd be really cool. You gotta consider alternate skins. So if that's a possibility in the future, maybe, then maybe it can be. Gorgong and other original kaiju have alternate skins. It's possible for these developers to be like, let's just have alternate skins for some of these DLC characters so that way we can do it. Hell, so many games do that. Dead by Daylight does that. They did it with Crypt TV. It's possible. And again, this is all theory. Now, I said there would be another DLC pack, and yeah, truth be told, there's so many things that can be considered for this, it's really hard. Evangelion stuff would be dope. There's a collab with Evangelion and Godzilla and stuff happening right now. Anything from the Shin lines would be really fun. I mean, we can get creative with the liberties. We could throw Kamen Rider in there for absolutely no reason. It's whatever, who cares? It would be fun. That is very unlikely though. Very unlikely. We could even put Transformers, but I feel like the most fitting would be Gundam. And I'm not the biggest Gundam fan. I'm not really too familiar with a lot of the stories, but I do love a good Gundam. And I do want to get more into it, but I know the base knowledge of Gundam, and I feel like a Gundam pack would be really dope. Just have more mechs around in general. I feel like we need more mechs. Hence why I offered Power Rangers as well. And there's not a lot of Pacific Rim, but you know, you got Gypsy Danger in there too. Those are essentially all the DLC that I could see this game coming out with and then just finishing there and never making DLC again, and everybody would be happy regardless. But even all these theorized packs are pretty big in terms of, like, you know, wishes. A small indie development team with a community that is not that big probably doesn't make enough revenue to get the licenses needed to have this dream game of Kaiju Brawl. And it's unfortunate, but it's true. And I love Gigabash so much, but truth be told, I don't see more than 2 more DLC packs coming out for the game, and then they never make more DLC packs. And if we're basing it off of the timing and time frame of this, it looks like yearly. So maybe that's 2 to 3 more years worth of DLC, but ideally, I would love to see it become seasonally so that there's more attention drawn to the game more frequently. And if that were the case, I feel like DLC would probably be over by the following year. And yes, it's very sad, but I don't know. I don't know what their plans are. I don't know who they've talked to, what the licenses are, etc. I have the highest hopes for Gigabash. This is just like a dream theory DLC pack. All these little packs right here that we just talked about. It's a dream to have any of these really in the game. And we've already been given so much, which only leads me to believe that whatever they do have cooking up is going to be really fun. And if we were to get all these and more for some reason, Gigabash might become one of the most important games out there today, especially for Kaiju fans, especially for licenses. This would probably be bigger than, please stay with me when I say this, this would probably be bigger than like MCU, Marvel, whatever. At least all those licenses are essentially owned by the exact same company. Ultraman and Godzilla and Gamera and all these other licenses, insane. It's already been so difficult to get Ultraman and Godzilla together for once. So just the fact that they're in a game together is mind-boggling. It would be amazing to just have all these other licenses come together as well. Could you imagine being Gamera, finally fighting Godzilla after over 50 years of just never intervening at all, but having this sort of beef? You know, it's great. Gamera fighting Ultraman, Godzilla fighting the Power Ranger Zords, Alien Bolton against King Ghidorah. I mean, there's just so many possibilities that would be dope. But all we can do is theorize. That's what I did. I just wanted to bring more attention to the game. I really, really love this game. I really hope the developers see this and maybe get some sort of kick out of it. I would love to see a Gigabash animated series or something. I don't know. This is a very, very important game. It deserves to be seen and heard. It is one of my favorite games of all time. It's gotta be, if not number 2, then number 3 or something. Because my favorite game of all time is still Alien Isolation. I'm sorry. That was all for this video. I'll put a little bit more gaming highlights at the end of this video, but thanks y'all for watching, and yeah, bye.
This is gonna be fun. Got it. All right. Kick his ass. Kick his ass. Kick his ass. All right, we got one Bolton. Do not let him get. Did we do it? Yes! We did it.